As we've been reporting, President Trump is sending Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner to Pakistan this weekend for a potential second round of talks on the war with Iran. And while the White House says Witkoff and Kushner will, quote, hear the Iranians out, a spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry says there are no plans to meet directly with the U.S. Instead, they will relay their concerns to the Pakistani mediators. This comes as an analysis from the Center for Strategic and International Studies finds the U.S. may have expended more than half of the pre-war inventory of at least 4 key munitions, including Tomahawk missiles. We spoke with Mark Cancian of CSIS Wednesday, and he told us the U.S. has enough in its stockpile continue in this war, but there's a risk for future conflicts, particularly one that would involve China.
The usage of munitions would be very high in a conflict with China. We didn't have enough to start with, and of course now we're further behind. It will take years to rebuild those inventories and to build up to where we need to be, and that produces a window of vulnerability.
CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd joins us now. So, Sam, do you agree with what he just said, that the U.S. may come out of this disadvantaged against China?
I think there's a short-term and a longer-term perspective to take on this, Lindsay. In the short term, it is a fact that the United States has had to reposition assets from key theaters like the Indo-Pacific to move key munitions to the Middle East to engage in this war. So while there is not a concern, as Mark mentioned, that we're going to run out of these key munitions in the next several months, we just have less of them in key places like the Indo-Pacific. Longer term, what Mark is referring to is the fact that even with all the funding in the world, it will take years to replace some of the key munitions that we are running low on, like Tomahawk missiles and like air defense interceptors. So because of that, from a longer term perspective, we are disadvantaged if China does choose to try to exert more hegemony in the Indo-Pacific against Taiwan, for example, because we're going to have to play catch up just to replenish our inventories.
What are the top issues that need to be discussed during these upcoming talks? What does it mean the two sides are currently saying they're not going to meet directly?
I wouldn't make too much of the fact that the two sides aren't going to meet directly. Historically, a lot of negotiations have involved a mediator for the first several rounds just to establish basic levels of trust, to build momentum in negotiations. The key issues on the table right now include the dueling blockades in the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. military blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran's deep level of mine laying in the strait and its requirement that vessels pay the regime a toll to pass through. That's one piece. The other, of course, is Iran's nuclear program and whether the Iranian regime will agree to give up its enrichment capabilities as well as its current stockpile of material used to make nuclear weapons known as highly enriched uranium. So we have to wait to see what happens with both those issues, as well as whether the United States is able to, or willing to offer the Iranian regime any financial relief in the sense of sanctions relief or unfreezing some of Iran's frozen assets globally.
All right, Sam Vinograd, thank you.
Thank you.